Angelo. Hopefully you guys
Whoa.
are being watched.
Here we go. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back. Sunday Market Blitz, September 19th, and another week ahead of us.
Yeah, things are looking good.
Yeah, I got some interesting setups getting ready for the week. I'm gonna go over all the majors. Next, gonna go over some of the minor pairs, golds, maybe a little US 30, who knows?
Yeah. You never know. It's always a mystery what we're gonna go over, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
US 30. We'll go over that a little bit as well. But normally just the ones that we cover. But yeah, as Angelo said, majors, minors, pretty much the stuff you guys are looking at, and just the most traded pairs in general. So yes, we'll get some good insight into this week. But yeah, as we said, guys, hope you guys had a good weekend. Hopefully you guys are ready for this week. Hopefully you did your own analysis as well. And then you can do some sort of comparison here as well. But if you do miss this, it is recorded on YouTube. It'll also be posted in Telegram and Discord, as well as all the analyses that we posted. So yeah, we'll kick it off here in a second.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so if you have any questions, guys, feel free to write in the chat. If you guys are new, all the analysis is posted in Telegram and Discord. We posted earlier today. So you guys can always go back, look it over, read it up, and we're basically just gonna go over all those ideas, why we had them, and how you could potentially take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see my chart, guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to kick it off here. We always start off with DXY. Now, we don't actually trade this. I kind of say this every webinar. If you guys have been to any one of these, you guys should know this, that we use the dollar more or less as an indicator, because the dollar makes up for a lot of the market, right? It makes up for 80% of all trade. That's a pretty big amount. So if the dollar is, doing something, if there's a lot of volume that we can see on the chart, it's going to affect the market to some degree. So it's good to be aware of that. Okay, so we apply, TA exactly the same. I'm going to walk you guys through this, but we do it exactly the same as any other pair, and we just kind of follow the market and see what it's doing, and then we can make better trades, better analyses on other pairs on a week-to-week basis. So what we're going to do here on every pair is start off on the daily time frame. You guys can see I'm on the higher time frame here, and the only thing I want to grab from this time frame is the trend. And then with that, we're going to drop to the lower time frame and go over two potential scenarios, both one a bullish and one a bearish scenario. Okay, so let's see what the dollar is right now. We're looking pretty bullish, right? We're seeing some higher highs, higher lows. We did move through a major level, our monthly zone here at 91.5. And before that, we were pretty bearish. So we were moving lower lows, lower highs. We broke that level as support, tested it as resistance, kind of bounced around this level for a little while. And then it seems like we got some footing above that level, right? We have a nice, channel, pattern, whatever you want to call it. It's a form of consolidation above this massive level of support. We didn't see a quick turnaround like we did over here on the first break. We're actually kind of holding what looks to be like a pretty good trend right now. So definitely bullish. Let's now go to the 4-hour and see what the potential scenarios are, right? Thinking both sides of the market. We're not predicting here. We're simply following the market and labeling and visualizing what is most likely to happen, right? So we're here on the 4-hour, very bullish here as well. We do have potential to push up to 93.8. We could get some higher lows between here and there. That would just kind of support this as a continuing higher. So this is really the only major level of resistance. Everything in between here is seeming pretty much like a void, right? We're going to move through this with pretty easily. And the only level where we can expect some sort of reaction is currently 93.8. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Definitely bullish into this week. We did just clear this prior range. So these two black lines here were a prior range. If you can look to the left, we saw multiple rejections of resistance, multiple tests of support. Okay, so we cleared that. We're above that now. And there was also a level here at 93 flat. You guys can see acted as resistance and support in this one instance. And we're also clearing that. So a higher low there would also kind of confirm this pushing higher. Okay, so definitely bullish into the week for the dollar. For us to consider it bearish again on the 4-hour, or for it to turn around, we would need it to break back below 93. Okay, and then lower highs, lower lows, just falling back to lower levels, and that would be change back to bearish on this time frame only on this 4-hour. But right now, it's holding pretty steady. It's looking pretty strong. So I'm expecting the dollar to continue bullish into the week. So with that said, let's move over to our first tradable pair, AU, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Daily time frame, we're grabbing the trend, which is very bearish. Okay, lower lows, right, lower highs, nice resistance level there, lower lows, and then it looks like we're continuing with another bearish leg as we speak. Okay, so definitely bearish. Was bullish for a while, moved sideways, huge area of consolidation, nice range there, and then it dropped. Okay, so definitely bearish. It should be very easy to see that, just following the normal characteristics of a trend, and easy to see bearish. So let's go to the 4-hour now. Let's talk about these two trade scenarios, see where we're at. Spread this up a little bit. All right, so here is that level, 0.74, that major resistance level. Okay, so don't let this volume scare you. Just look at the levels that we have drawn, right? This was more or less a fake out. We had a nice double top. And on the daily time frame, if you even look at this level, this is more or less a test, right? It did definitely break above, but it didn't give us the higher low. So it's more or less a fake out, right? This level's still in play now. Okay, definitely bearish. So that was that reversal. Nice break back below 0.74. And this is just the most beautiful transition you'll ever see. Tons and tons of confirmations. Rejected perfectly off resistance, MA cross, evening star, and then continued lower. So that was the transition there. That's how we knew we were back to bearish, right? That first lower high that you see below a support level now turn resistance, right? That's absolutely perfect. So it's been moving lower since then. We do have a nice channel here. You guys can probably see that. So we're going to play into this, try and ride this out. If we can get a nice little retest of 0.73, lower high below, and that would be a retest of, you know, minor broken structure, and then also this level as well, 0.73. So tons of confirmation in here. Looking for this play out pretty early in the week. Could be a nice short opportunity, and we'll target down towards 0.72. So very easy to see continuation of a trend here on the 4-hour. Should be nice to see this play out. But if it goes the opposite direction, let's say we get some bullish momentum right now, it breaks 0.73, just need to see a higher low above that level, and we could have a nice long opportunity into our next zone up here at 0.74. Okay, so whichever way this goes, we're ready. Right? We're following the market again, guys, following what the price action shows us, following TA and what we know, and we'll be ready for either scenario. So looking pretty good. But the reason we grab the higher time frame trend too, because if you can line up more time frames with the bias of your trade. So obviously we have the daily time frame bearish, 4-hour bearish, let's say the 1 hour is bearish as well, or the weekly. That's just more confirmation, should give you more confidence in your trade, because let's say once this happened, this confirmed a daily lower high, there's usually going to be a lot of momentum that follows that. Hence this anticipated large, bearish leg. We're looking to get down to 0.72 again. That's pretty large in terms of pips, because it's a daily move. So that's why there's a lot of significance when you're lining up different time frames, trends on different time frames, because you can get some pretty big trades. That's where the best swing trades are, is when all time frames are kind of lining up and you're getting multiple confirmations across time frames. So it's really good, and that's what we're kind of seeing now. So this would be a nice opportunity to continue lower here on AU. All right, so let's move over to AJ. It's going to look pretty similar. We know they're correlated for the most part, more than not. So let's go right to the daily time frame and see where we're at. Okay, just like we saw in AU, we were bullish, saw consolidation, price action kind of was stuck in a range here, stuck in this area, and then we saw a nice transition of a major support level, which was our weekly here at 83.25, broke lower, pulled back, even tested structure, gave us the lower high, and then continued lower. So definitely bearish as well. We got a similar fake out here at 81.4 resistance, and then it continued lower again. So still very much bearish. This major resistance level still in play. So let's go to the 4-hour, see where we're at. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, so here's 81.4. Here it looks like a double top almost on this one too. This one is a little more of a lower high than a double top, but again, very similar to AU, right? So it broke this level. Nice retest here. It actually dropped to 80.80 support, pulled back, lower high, and then pushed through this level. There's a nice pattern there as well, but either way, the whole point is it's a great transition, followed through with nice momentum. It didn't get caught in this range where we saw price action bouncing before. So this was nice to see. It means it has a lot of momentum, and it showed that too on this actual break, this breaking candle here, right at 80.8, across the 200 EMAs, and the lower time frame MAs too. So this is a lot of confirmation here, guys. Definitely very, very strong bearish trend right now. And as I put in the analysis, this is pretty much an entry right now. We had a nice MA cross, confirm that. However, if you did take this trade, your stop loss would be a little bit high, but still would probably be a 2-to-1. Let's actually mark it up because I actually included this in the analysis. So it'd be, yeah, it's not quite a 2-to-1. That's what I was saying. A little bit too high for a stop loss. But these are the confirmations that you would like to see. If this trade had lined up better for a 2-to-1, I'd probably be taking it live on this call, but it's a little too tight for me, so I'm not gonna do anything with it yet. If anything, I'll wait for it to pull back again, maybe get a another retest of 80.8. That would be nice to see because that is the actual break of structure there. So that would be a nice opportunity if it pulled back like that and then reverse. We'd see some entries there, but the most likely scenario now is that price action will just keep falling. It's got a lot of momentum behind it, and it looks like this is going to be a true break. Quick little retest of this level, and then it's just going to drop down to 79 flat. So that's where we're at here. Sometimes the parameters just aren't there. We'd like to see something a little better, like we talked about, but we'll sit on this one for now and see what happens. So that's the short scenario, most likely to happen. Definitely closer to happening right now. If this were to go bullish, we need to see a break back above 80.80 with a higher low above. And ideally, we'd like to see it clear that range, but just be cautious of this level. Because again, if you look to the left, you could just see that price action got caught in this area for a little while. So just be aware of that if it does go bullish. Okay, so that's AJ. Let's move over to our next pair, UJ. Now, keep in mind that DXY is looking very bullish. And then the TA here is, pointing more bearish, but we'll get to that in a second. Just keep that in mind where we covered DXY, definitely looking like it's going to continue higher. Okay, so here on UJ, overall bullish. We do have a little more strict consolidation now. It's a pretty defined range here. Support being 109.15, resistance closer to 110 flat. So keep that in mind. We have some indecision without this throughout this level here. But overall on the daily, we're pretty bullish. So let's go to the 4-hour now. Okay, so here's that consolidation at a closer look. Looked like it was an ascending triangle. Again, resistance was at 110, but we did see some wicks up until 110.30. So this level, this like 30 pip range here, area of caution, right? We really want to clear above that if we're going bullish, and really clear below it if we're going bearish. So last week we did see that lower high form, initial break, price action dropped all the way to 109.15 and then pulled back. So this would be the area where we try to spot a reversal. This would honestly be very ideal to push lower, gave us another lower high that we could then enter on and target lower. But we do know DXY is looking very bullish. So, it definitely could push through this level, right? Push through 110, push through 110.3, give us the higher low, and then we would consider long scenarios. Now, I do have the blue path here as the first option because it's just closer to happening, right? We're closer to getting a reversal and then pushing lower into a lower high rather than breaking through two resistance levels and then getting a higher low. Okay, that's how this is, and just following the TA. I'm very unbiased when it comes to kind of choosing a direction. I really just want to follow the market, show me what it's going to do, and then we'll make trades based on that. So these are the two options. Again, be cautious between 110 flat and 110.3. Lots of fake outs, attempted breaks, long candles and wicks all throughout this area. So just make sure it clears before you go long if it does break. Okay, so quick question, how's gold going to do? We're going to cover that in a second. We got a lot of movement out of gold. We're finally onto the 4-hour, but I'll cover that at the end. That's usually the last pair. Okay, so that's UJ. Again, two scenarios, guys. This one's probably going to be later in the week for one of these to play out, which is so great about these active charts. Once we finish this, you guys can continue to have these all week. You'll just play it forward as you need it. Okay, so let's move on to EJ. Reset the chart here, see what kind of trend we're dealing with on the daily. So we were very bullish. Nice reversal here at the weekly, 132.75. Okay, nice transition, push lower. There's the lower high. Nice break and retest of that structure level. And then we were bearish, from that point. Lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. This seems to be a trend, right, guys? We've seen a lot of fake outs. Last week was a huge kind of push in the opposite of the overall trend. And it kind of like stalled out and then pulled back. Like last week was like pretty much a fake out for a lot of pairs, as we've seen. And, no different here on EJ, right? It pushed just above 130. Price action stalled. Didn't really confirm a break. We didn't get a higher low above that level. So it wasn't a transition, more or less, a fake out and then, resumed bearishness. So definitely still bearish. Let's go to the 4 hour, see what two scenarios we can spot here on this pair. Zoom out a second. All right, so here it is, 130, guys. You can see it. We're bullish on the 4 hour. Price action stalled. There actually is a minor level right here for the sake of showing you guys this transition. This was it here, right? So price action pushed up, kind of moved sideways. We saw some consolidation, pretty much a double top, if you will, or some sort of M pattern. But the main point is right here, this little level here. So this was support on the 4 hour. Price action broke it, retested as a resistance, confirmed a lower high, 2 attempts, tested it twice, and then it dropped. So that was a nice transition right there. That was kind of the tell to us that we were back to bearish on the 4 hour, right when that happened. And price action at that point did the same thing, broke support, and then dropped to our new major level at 128.9. Bounced, tested that level again. Now we're moving lower again. So it's in a pretty strong trend, right? If you were to draw a channel, you could just see that it's moving pretty nice. Strong characteristics of a bearish trend, lower lows, lower highs, and good momentum in between, which is nice about EJ, because when it does commit to whatever it's doing, when it's trending or consolidating, it really commits. Like there's a lot of consolidation, there's a lot of movement in a bearish trend, a lot of movement in a bullish trend, and so on. So we're expecting the same, right? We want to see this level break 128.9. So there's more confluence here, structure level, and it's a major support level. So if we break that, we'd be looking for the next lower high to enter on, and then we'd short down towards our next support level. So this is looking pretty good. I mean, if we get a few more confirmations, we could be seeing a nice little short opportunity. But if this does reverse now, we could be seeing the exact same thing here, right? Where it has like 2 attempts for the lower high and then it finally breaks. So that's a possibility here. So it's either going to reverse or break support right now. I wouldn't necessarily take a long. I wouldn't enter long right now. I'd really want to see a higher low above 130 to comfortably say that this is bullish, because that's where the next major transition would take place. Right here, we want to see a break of this lower high, higher low above that, and then we could be looking at long opportunities. But for right now, it's so far away from that, and everything here kind of just points to bearish. So we're just going to stick with that bias for now into this week. So looks pretty good here on EJ. Let's move over to gold. Daily time frame to start. What's the trend been? Pretty much bearish. I mean, even if we zoom out a little bit more, this is, even considering the weekly trend, for the most part, bearish as hell, right? Lower lows, lower highs. Even these huge swings, still remain bearish through all that. And, no different here. We did have a lot of consolidation between 1800 and 1825. Every time we were between that, I recommended to you guys that you be cautious unless you like trading ranges, because there's no trend, present between a range. There's just no trend. It's just moving sideways and it's bouncing between 2 symbol levels. Okay, we finally broke that range here. Nice bearish momentum right through 1800. So let's go to the 4 hour. Get a closer look at what's going on. Is there a question? Do you trade more scalping, intraday, or swing? More swing trading. Most of my trades are held for well over a day, closer to 2 days. All right, so daily time frame is bearish. We finally broke that range. The agony of waiting is just terrible on gold sometimes, but we're clear of it. So now, if you caught the break, good for you. That was absolutely great momentum, but we're a little bit low now, right? Little bit low, not really a lower high. I'd like to see it pull back a little bit more, perhaps retest broken structure right here at 1787. That'd be a nice area to find a lower high, enter short on. Massive amount of pips on that, well over 400. Just to this level, it's 470. So good amount of pips there. Very good risk to reward if that were to happen. And I'm not even I didn't even draw out a long scenario, even the analysis, because this isn't gonna pull. It's gonna take a while to pull back. We'll see this throughout, the middle of the week. Kind of pull back to this area if it does, or it's just gonna keep dropping. So for us to even consider long opportunities, we need to see a higher low above 1825, because if price action just pulls back above 1800, we're back within the range, right? And then we're waiting again. So I'd even include a long scenario, just waiting for this to kind of confirm this breakout even more and just start, trending downward. All right, so that's gold. Should I cover US 30? Should I do it? Let's see. Maybe. We'll cover US 30.
Make it happen.
Actually, so last week I actually did this on a daily time frame because we were kind of within this pattern here. I wanted to see how it was going to react at the low. Wasn't convinced that it was the true break. And you could actually see here, even on the daily, how badly price action struggled to break. Look at all those, kind of reverse candles. You could just see bearish candle, bullish candle, bearish candle, bullish candle. It was just fight for like a week long. So really wanted to wait on that one. It did clear. We actually can see on the 4 hour, there's a lot of lower highs leading up to this. Okay, so we saw that it had potential to break because we were consolidating a little bit at support. That's never a good sign. It's usually hinting at a break, as we know. And then we started getting lower highs. You guys can see a trend line to visualize that. Lower high after lower high after lower high. Okay. And we are below our level, 3480. Okay. So we are definitely below that, and we're looking bearish. So now this one seems to be extending a little bit further. It's got a little more conviction. There's no wick on this past candle, but if we look to the left, we've seen 4 wicks on the 4 hour, 4 wicks rejecting this zone. So it looks like the bears have finally taken over. I'm going to go ahead and draw in random line right about here. So it's pretty much an entry now, or wait for it to pull back and give us our next lower high. Like this. But overall, it's looking pretty bearish, guys. This has potential to drop quite a bit. Let's go to the daily time frame just to check our zones, see what the potential is. Okay, so if this is a true break, we pretty much have the potential to fall all the way back down to 3380. Okay, massive support at this level. Okay, and it's a pretty good target. There are minor levels along the way, like this 3430 area, minor levels, but if this really is a daily break, daily change of trend, this thing is going to drop quite a bit. So potentially bearish for US 30 going into this week. We'll see. For us to consider long opportunities, I want to see this get back above 35,000. I want to see some higher lows above that, because this thing is looking bearish as hell. So a lot needs to happen for us to kind of change our bias. All right, guys, so that's US 30. Yeah, looking pretty crazy. Quick recap, guys, if you want to catch at least these first 6, we posted them again in the Telegram and Discord, and they're active charts. So you can click the play button and see how price action is playing out each day if you want. Okay, see which trade path that price action is following. All right, so I covered DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, gold, and then we did a little US 30 action. But yeah, so I'm going to pass it off to Angelo. AUD CAD. Angelo's going to cover quite a few more of the majors. Yeah, he's going to do GU as well. So yeah, let's see what he's got. But thank you, guys. That's all I got for you guys this week.
All right, cool. Yeah, so if you guys got any questions, post it in the chat. I'll go ahead and share up here. We got some more people trying to join. How about GU? Yeah, we're gonna go over GU right now. AUD CAD, another GU. All right, so let's take a look. We're gonna start off with Gbp Jpy. So we always start off on the weekly time frame when we're doing the swing trading analysis. So when we're looking for swing trades, always start out on the weekly time frame. I posted a video about this earlier today in the Telegram. This is just very clean, easy kind of setup here. We're seeing on the weekly time frame prices making these lows lower lows and lower highs. So right here, we're seeing a lower high, we're seeing a lower low, we're seeing a lower high, a lower low. And then ultimately before last week, look how these candles were coming up. So we had this bullish candle, this next bullish candle, which obviously is much weaker, and then this doji. So just using kind of common sense here, this is telling us that price is slowing up at a resistance level, ultimately getting ready to fall back to the downside. And it pretty much looks like, look how last week closed, engulfed this previous candle, obviously the doji as well. So sellers definitely stepped into the market right now. Coming down to the 4 hour, we can see on the 4 hour time frame, we had that trend going bullish. So we had some higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then ultimately we had this break of structure. This was last week. So last week we had gone over this on Sunday, this exact analysis we were looking for. We were like, we opened the week pretty much right around here, I want to say. So the 10th. Let's see. Yeah, so right around the 10th. So we had said that we're only going to take sells if we had a break of support of this level. It broke, retested this level. Now we're just we need to make a new low, so we're retesting this support level. So what I'm looking for is a retest of the 151-200 area, and then once we get some rejection there, we're going to look to short this thing back to the downside. So overall, GJ is very bearish, guys. We are not going to take buys on this unless structure breaks back to the upside. But the weekly and the 4 hour is lining up to be bearish, and it takes sells. I mean, you could even get in on it here, but the risk reward just isn't as good. So I would wait for a retest before getting in on it. So that's GJ. That one's almost ready. Let's go to USEF next. Let's bump on to the weekly. So weekly time frame, we were hovering in between these two levels for the last several weeks, right? So all the way since June of 2021, so about 2 months, we were sitting in between these two price levels. And now we finally got a breakout where this thing has pushed beyond this level. So buyers are stepping in. The dollar's getting a lot stronger right now. What I'm thinking, look how last week closed. Obviously, it's very bullish, but we are still pretty overextended. So coming down to the 4 hour, this trend is clearly bullish now. We have this new high form. What we need first is we need some sort of bullish bearish variation at the top. So this is showing no signs of showing up yet. We do have this doji, but we haven't confirmed like a close of some sort of pattern or anything. This thing opened up, it's kind of bullish. So we need a pullback. We're not going to put our fibs on until we get some rejection here. But say it does reject right there. This is the 38.2 if it were to reject right now. So I'm just looking for a pullback on this one. There's really nothing to do. If anything, you could start to short this thing at the top. The only reason I say that is because on the weekly, you can see prices clearly dip back into this area multiple times. So it's likely that's going to come back into that area one more time. So 4 hour, you could try to short term take sells on this, but not really a fan of doing that. I'd more wait for the pullback and then look for that long opportunity. And you can obviously see the trend is very bullish, but that's not really relevant. So we're just gonna wait for the pullback and then get on that. So USEF, not exactly near entry or anything, but it is shaping up. So weekly time frame on NZD USD. So last week we were at the bottom. Let's go ahead and take a look. We were at the bottom of this area, or 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, and it pushed up from the support level. Now we're back in the middle of this range. Now look where we're currently at. We had resistance here. It flipped. Now it's going to act as support. So I'm not going to take any more sells now until we get under this level. This is why I marked this level down. This is our weekly resistance area. Now turned into support. So we had the break, retest. Price is most likely going to stall up near this level. Coming down to the 4 hour, the 4 hour clearly is bearish. Like we broke, if we were to just do what the trend is, we had a little bit of an uptrend. We came back. Price had some consolidation, and then now we just kind of broke down. So the trend broke down on the 4 hour time frame to be bearish. So, you know, On the 4-hour, it would probably make sense to take sells if we had a retest of the support right here, and then we would take sells to the downside. But considering the weekly time frame, this is that support level on the weekly. I want to potentially look for buys on this one, but just at the moment, I can't see it making sense to take buys until we get some sort of break of resistance. Sure, we could just buy at the bottom here, but this thing could fall out and then head much lower. So I want to wait for some sort of structure to break. 4 hours bearish. Weekly time frame again, to me, is bullish because we have this little break and retest now. So weekly is bullish, 4 hours bearish. It doesn't exactly line up that well, which is fine. So we're going to keep this one kind of on the back burner right now, but we'll update this later in the week and see, if it does retest and reject there, probably should sell, but no real trade idea on NU. Just got to wait for it to materialize. Eurocad a little bit more or a little closer to actually being able to get in on an entry on this one. So last week we had drawn this out. Pretty much we opened on last week's call right around this area, right? So we opened in this area. We had like a break of resistance here. You can clearly see this is what we had mapped out. Just very simple market structure, making lows, lower highs, then made a higher high, higher low. So I was anticipating this thing moving to the upside. Coming back up to the weekly, we have our 2 levels marked. We haven't changed these in a long time because price hasn't broken above or below 1.3 and 1.2 in forever. So these are our zones. And then as you can see, the weekly has shifted and has been in an uptrend. So it's been breaking resistance, testing it as support, breaking the resistance, testing it as support, over and over and over again. And as you can see, 2 weeks ago, this closed with a bullish candlestick formation. So I'm anticipating this thing pushing back into the 1.3 area, even though we have already tested that. A lot of buyers are stepping in at the moment. So it does look like it could push. And then coming to the 4-hour, 4-hour is clearly bullish. 4 hours bullish. We've been forming this uptrend now. So what we need at the moment is a break, which we just got, and then a retest of the support level. So once price comes down into this area, let's take this off, fix this up. So once price actually comes back down into this support level, this is when we're going to look for that next long opportunity right there. It's going to probably happen early in the week this week, just like GU. Or GJ, I mean. So GJ and UCAD are the 2 setups that I'm looking for. GJ, obviously, we're looking for this to go short. GU or UCAD, we're looking for this to actually go long. USEF, again, nothing. NU, not as clear. And then let's go to GU. It's going to be similar to GJ. This is a very clean, simple kind of setup on this one. We're going the weekly first. I mean, we don't really need to make up too much here, guys, on the weekly time frame. A while ago, we were talking about this head and shoulders pattern. So we have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and then we had that little break down there. So price ended up breaking, retesting, and that's where we're currently at. We're currently right here. We have last week came up, started to slow up, had this like spinning top. Last week closed engulfing this previous candle over here. So clearly this thing, sellers are stepping in to the market, and it looks like it's ready to push to the downside. Like weekly time frame, everything's pointing that this thing's going to go lower. And then as we come to the 4-hour, same thing here. The trend has broken right here. The support level has broken. And now we're just looking for that first lower high. So whenever we break a trend, uptrend to downtrend, looking for that first lower high. And the best area to kind of get this, we can actually just clean this up a little bit more. Best area to actually take an order on this one would be right in this zone. I say this because we have support here, we have support here, support here. This also acted as resistance previously. We could drag this really all the way back. This thing has been testing this zone multiple times. just coming back like this. So this is definitely the zone to look for. We can even move it down now a little bit more. So GU is probably going to shape up for a short this week. We just need it to move up. We don't want to take sells at the bottom here, guys, because then there's so much room for this thing to move. Our stop loss is going to be so freaking wide. As you can see, we're targeting the previous low right here. But you know, we don't want to take an order down here. We have no room for like a good risk reward. So GU is a little bit closer. Again, it's very similar to GJ. We're looking for both of these to trend to the downside. We're not going to take buys on either of them unless we get some sort of break. This thing goes to the upside. So let's go to EU last. So this is the last one I'll go over. Then I see someone AUD CAD, ECAD. Maybe we'll go over one of those. But EU, pretty much on the weekly time frame, I'm just marking off one level here. We obviously had this double top up here. So this is resistance level. We're not really worried about that right now because we're all the way down here. And we have this support zone. So price has bounced off this area once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So price has found support here several times over the last year. So it hasn't broken below here and hasn't really tested this low. It has tested this low here, but I'm talking about like down at the 1164 area. Hasn't been that low since September of 2020. So, you know, it's obviously September 2021, a year ago. That's when this got this low. It does look like it has some more room to push. I mean, just looking at how price action just formed, bearish candle, no wick. But obviously the support level has me a little bit more weary as to what to do, but just kind of keeping it simple here, guys. On the 4-hour, we could just go with the 4-hour bias until we see a transition on the 4-hour from a downtrend to an uptrend. We're just simply going to take sells, right? So the next area that we would take sells would be a retest of this zone. This is most likely what it would look like. We would be targeting this previous low right here. So we'd have stops right in this area for a 2-to-1 risk reward. So this is going to be the first trade idea for the week, is if price gets back up to this area, look for the short. And then obviously I have this marked. If price does break the resistance, then we will look to take buys on this. Again, wait for the transition here, guys. If we just take this off right here, clearly this is a hypothetical. This is in a downtrend, right? It's heading to the downside. There's no reason to make anything up. You know, it's heading to the downside. If we did get this to come on, say this didn't happen, instead it broke, then we'd be looking for that first buy opportunity right there. Just keep it very simple. So that's EU. So that's pretty much all the major pairs. If you guys want, I will cover Eurocad. Let me just pull it up. Haven't actually looked at Eurocad in a little while, but we'll get a little idea out there for you guys. You know where it is. Where art thou, Eurocad? Oh, here it is.
Right.
I didn't have the candles on.
Fresh chart.
And so we'll start up on the weekly. Just zoom out whenever I'm doing my levels. You don't need to go this far out, but normally I'll look in this area and I'll say, okay, where are some areas of resistance? Where are some areas of support? Not trying to overcomplicate things. Clearly I can see right here, we have a level of support. Put this on, support here, resistance here. That's really all I need. And then this confirms it even more. These 2 wicks coming into that area. And then this also, just kind of looking left real quick, this also looks like a very serious level. So we got support all along this area, price never broke. Then we have resistance, price came up, tested this area, gets a little sloppy over here, but then you can see price holds below this area, and now we're just moving above there. So that's kind of the basis of where we're at. We're in the middle of these 2 zones. We just rejected the lower zone. We're most likely going to end up pushing to the upside. And why do I say that? Is because look at the weekly time frame. It broke, retested, it found support, rejected it again. The next move is most likely back into the 1.50 or 15100 level. So coming down to the 4-hour time frame, let's try to map all this out. And on the 4-hour, the trend here, if we're just doing it very simply, is clearly bullish. And now it has been getting a little sloppy in here, but this is what I'm looking at right here. So I'm going to delete all of this. We don't really need to look at all of that. And I'm literally just going to look at this break. And now we're going to look for the retest. So we're getting a little bit of a break of resistance on the 4-hour time frame right here. I'm going to wait for the pullback into our support level. And then that's when I'm going to look to take buys on Eurocad. And say I put it down in this area. And then we target our previous high, which would be all the way up here. Or if we look left, obviously there's other targets before that. We could just target this level if we wanted to first. And then we could throw stops below the previous low. So this would be my idea on Eurocad. Obviously, if Eurocad ends up breaking the resist or the support level, this would be trade idea number 2. So always giving out 2 different paths because of the fact that we have our strongest idea. And if that idea breaks down, we want to be able to react to the downside. So that's Eurocad, and then AUD-CAD probably going to be fairly similar. Let's see if I've got it on here. Here we go. So let's bump up to the weekly time frame. So right off the bat, we can tell that AUD-CAD has been very bearish. Boom, very bearish. Making lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high. And then we just had a break of the trends right here, retested it. So this thing most likely will now push to the upside. And this is what I'm talking about right here. We had a break of the resistance level, tested it as support, had a large wick last week. Coming down to the 4-hour time frame, let's try to make sense of all that. So the weekly, I have a bullish bias. And this is exactly what I'm doing when I'm breaking down my own charts for you guys. And then you can see the trends is very bearish. Now we're like retesting this level. So price really needs to get above this area to take any sells, and if price or take any buys, and if price does manage to hold below this area, which it is starting to reject, this is what we're going to see.
Oh yeah, this is very clean. This is great. This is a good structure actually for 4-hour on ACAD. I don't normally analyze AUD-CAD, but this looks good.
Yep. Good. Yep. Yeah. So this thing has like a bearish engulfing here, guys. Just short it. Pretty much like it'll be in this area. Obviously, you'll have that as a target, but if you look left, you've got that next level. Your stop loss would be right around this area. That would be kind of idea number 1, getting it on like a bearish engulfing. And then idea number 2 would be if you actually get a break and retest, but that's not, need a little more for that to happen right now. So that's AUD-CAD, and that's pretty much it for the analysis this week. Went over a bunch of pairs, about 7 pairs myself. Nick went over about 6 or 7 pairs himself. Yep. So you guys should be ready for the week. You know, make sure you're checking up on the analysis. Use it as a guide, like Nick said. If you're charting yourself, just do a little comparison. You know, so you guys can get some help with your charts.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some good setups this week. We definitely gave you guys a little more than normal. So we got our work cut out for us. Let's have a good week and, you know, happy trading.
Yes, sir. Yeah, tonight, last night to get in on the rapid signals is 40% off. So if you guys are interested in getting in on the signal room, definitely take advantage. We're going to get it posted in the chat, but definitely take advantage because normally $75 now. So the sale is going to end tonight. And if you guys haven't seen the actual group and what the group looks like, we pretty much, there's already one trade out on gold. pretty much what we're doing in here is we're only giving the entry, the stop loss, the take profit. No one wants the charts anymore because of the fact that everyone just wants freaking signals. So we got rid of the charts, kind of cleaned it up. We're only giving the signals now. These are all the reason why there's charts in here is because these are before and after shots. So whenever a trade actually hits the take profit, we'll post a before and after so everyone knows that that trade is now closed. But as you can see, tons of trade ideas in here every single day, guys. So if you want a signal room, if you want some added ideas, help you guys, obviously take some trades during the week, definitely join. 40% off, and that'll be over tonight. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Sunday Market Blitz. We'll be back during the week, obviously be posting stuff, and Friday we'll be back. We'll review everything, let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys need us, you can find us in any of our channels, Telegram, Discord, as Angelo said. But other than that, have a good week, guys. We'll see you guys again soon.
Oh yeah. Peace out, everybody.
Peace, guys.